Merry Kitschmas! Hello, it's Victoria of Super Geeked, where we celebrate all the things we get super geeked about. I get super geeked about mid-century modern and vintage Christmas decorations. Today you clicked on day 9 of my 12 Days of Kitschmas series, where each day I'm talking about the history of a vintage Christmas decoration and sharing with you pieces from my personal collection. So if you love Kitschmas as much as I do, then stick around as we talk about the nostalgia surrounding some bubbly, kitschy delights. A bubble light is a novelty Christmas light consisting of a liquid-filled vial that is heated and illuminated by an incandescent light bulb. Because of the liquid's low boiling point, the modest heat generated by the lamp causes the liquid to boil and bubble up from the vial's base, thus creating a bubbly effect. Bubble lights for decoration were first patented in the United States by Carl W. Otis in 1944 and introduced in 1946 by Noma, one of the largest American manufacturers of Christmas lights. While Noma was the largest company to make these lights, other manufacturers included Raylight or Paramount Sterling, Royal Electric Company, and Goodlight Peerless. Bubble lights were very popular as Christmas lights from the 1940s through the 1970s, before miniature fairy lights became popular. When you see or hear about these classifications of lights, you may see them spelled as bubble lights or bubble lights. So what's the difference? Bubble lights, L-I-T-E-S, refers specifically to Noma's proprietary name for their version of bubble lights. Bubble lights, L-I-G-H-T-S, would be the genre of this type of light. Although the Noma bubble lights were introduced to Christmas of 1946, their predecessor model actually began production in 1941. The early prototypes of bubble lights were not ever actually marketed and were first fastened together with 3 little metal clips rather than glue. You will hear these early prototypes referred to as Triclips. Due to the start of World War II, they never did actually go into production commercially. Triclips were first used on the experimental Noma 24 light C6 socket trees. There are few of these 24 socket trees still available, and they do command a big price tag. The original Triclip bubble lights are nearly impossible to find today. For the post-World War II launch in December of 1946, Noma Electric manufactured and sold nearly 1 million of their bubble lights. Most homes in the U.S. had some bubble lights on their trees that Christmas and for several Christmases after. From 1946 through 1949, Noma produced 3 different style boxes for their sets. The original 1946 box was a book-type box that had the biscuit-style bubble light and a 9-socket straight-line cord with metal socket clips. Next box style was in 1948 and featured a new style flat bubble light. However, the housing of these lamps were too small to endure the heat from the bulb, and they warped and discolored and were discontinued. The third box in 1949 was a lid-type box. This biscuit-style bubble light continued to be used. While it is clear that Noma was the originator of the bubble light and produced their lights from 1946 to 1960, other Christmas light manufacturers wanted a share of the market with their versions of the bubble lights. Raylight Trading of New York had their Paramount brand bubble lights. They first launched production in 1947, calling them the Animated Crystal Snow, a slightly longer glass tube filled with an oil material that did not actually bubble but slowly fizzed, much like champagne. The plastic base was a very Art Deco style, with a plastic housing to cover the bulb and a translucent colored plastic saucer around the base. These first oil-filled lamps always had white housing to cover the bulbs and hold the tube and a transparent colored plastic saucer. This was the only year of production. In 1948, Raylight changed the oil bubble light bases to solid colors and shortened the tubes to match the length of Noma's bubble lights. These sold under the trade names Paramount and Sterling. By 1950, Raylight discontinued the oil-filled tubes and replaced the fluid with methylene chloride, same as all the other bubble lights on the market, and redesigned the plastic base to a more bulbous biscuit style, eliminating the oil mixture and beautiful Art Deco style base was done as a cost-saving measure in what was becoming a very lucrative and competitive bubble light market. Raylight continued to manufacture bubble lights through 1972. Royal Electric of Pawtucket, Rhode Island, quickly followed with their own style of bubble lights called sparkling bubble lights, with a plastic base similar to Noma, but with a concave top. They came in assorted, solid, and double colors, the top being one color and the base being another. In 1948, another novel light called the Good Light, or Peerless Shooting Star, was introduced to the market. The fluid tube had a mixture of chemicals, which would produce a slow rising and falling action of bubbles. The original box had a boy and a girl on the cover saying, "Watch them rise, watch them fall." More companies went on to produce their versions of bubble lights in various styles and colors during the atomic era. As I show you comps for what bubble lights are selling for on the secondary market, I wanted to talk about some rare and special bubble lights to look out for when you're out on the hunt. Collectors of bubble lights tend to have a special style or manufacturer that becomes a favorite. I personally love the Noma rocket ship and the Raylight animated crystal snow. The hardest fluid tube colors to find are purple, dark blue, and blood red. Orange and blue plastic bases are also harder to find today. Following World War II, pre-lit Christmas trees began to hit the market. Produced by Noma, Raylight, and Royal Electric. They were introduced as an easy way to decorate. Simply remove it from the box, place it on display, and plug it in. Most of these trees were equipped with bubble lights, but others also had C6 and C7 Christmas lamps. In the late 1950s, Raylight developed a revolving bubble light tree holding 9 of their Paramount saucer type bubble lights, and including a music box. Few of these revolving Christmas trees have survived due to an electrical defect in the revolving mechanism, which caused it to flame and burn. Speaking of, the liquid in most bubble lights, no matter the manufacturer, is almost always methylene chloride, a solvent that is toxic and possibly carcinogenic. It is generally sealed in a glass vial or a capsule to prevent its release. If it is broken, the area should be evacuated until the fumes have dissipated. Some early bubble lights instead used a lightweight oil, camphor, a white substance used sometimes in mothballs to create that low boiling point. In these older lamps, one can often see a white piece floating at the top of the vial until the heat lamp dissolves it and it starts to bubble. The light from the bulb illuminates the bubbles from beneath, causing them to shine. Bubble lights of all kinds operate best when the top of the tube is significantly cooler than the bottom, thus increasing the temperature gradient. The tubes must be kept upright and occasionally may need to be tapped or even shaken to begin warming up. There are reproductions on the market, and in recent years, bubble lights have become more elaborate in appearance. Glitter is sometimes added to the vials for extra sparkle, most commonly on those specialty types, such as those used in nightlights. Bases are often now made to look like characters such as snowmen or Santa Claus, rather than the plain ribbed plastic of yesteryear. Less toxic, modern imitations of bubble lights are made from acrylic or other clear plastic rods, with permanent bubbles deliberately manufactured into them, lit with fixed color or LED changing lights. Whether you collect the vintage variety or opt for reproductions, it isn't hard to tell why these bubble lights are a kitschy favorite year after year. I personally have owned bubble lights over the years, but don't own a tree where I can really use bubble lights. I have a PreLit artificial tree and a aluminum Christmas tree, which you saw on my day 4 of the 12 days of Kitschmas. However, I do own this plug-in bubble light, which I'm going to actually show you plugged in so you can see the bubbling happen and get an idea for how the bubble lights work. All right, y'all. Thank you guys so much for watching day 9 of the 12 days of Kitschmas. I'll be back tomorrow with day 10. We are getting close to the end of the series and Christmas. But don't worry, I have plenty to share with you in the new year, all about mid-century modern. So I hope that you'll consider subscribing to our channel and hitting that bell notification so you know when we have new videos coming out. Also, don't forget to hit the thumbs up on your way out, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!